You're listening to Mentoring Developers. The question is, here's the problem. When I'm a new developer, I'm new. My problem is that I'm not so confident. My problem is I don't know. There's this feeling is I see it in the future. I'm like, I don't know the winner. I don't know what to pick. I don't know what I should be doing with myself, right? That's the problem for a new developer. So based on your experience, I mean, you guys have done different things. Reuven, your main programming language, my understanding, is Python. Now, Python is a very popular language. It's a very good language. It's very popular in certain circles, but it's not generally as popular as some of the other languages. So
you would be surprised, but go on.
Okay, that's my biased understanding of it, because I've looked at it a long time ago, very, very long time ago, when I wanted to learn a different programming language. I went to a Barnes & Noble, and I picked out a book on Python, and I picked out a book on Ruby, and I just opened them up side by side, and I read a few chapters just to see what the languages are like, and I didn't like Python. So that's my only interaction with Python. That was many, many years ago. So, but what's so special about Python, and do you think that's a good language for new people?
So the irony is, in many ways, I've been telling people for years, like years before I started doing like so much Python training as I'm doing, even when I was like mostly doing development in Ruby day to day, I would tell them, if you're an adult and you want to learn programming, learn Python. And then learn other languages. And the reason is that the language was designed, I think part of the reason for the language's success and popularity is that it is extremely consistent and extremely, like, they're big on no surprises, right? Like, you should, like the syntax is not surprising. What you see is what you get. And so whereas a lot of other languages sort of, especially Ruby, like part of the reason why it's so much fun to program in Ruby is that the language has so much like magic in it, especially if you're using something like Rails. So you can try something and wow, it'll work. That worked exactly what I would have expected. But it works the way you would have expected after you've worked with it for a while. And you sort of get that inside of you. In Python, it's almost like executable pseudocode, and yet it handles a lot of the paradigms you want. It's object oriented, and it has functional stuff in there, and it has a huge community and tons of resources. So I happen to think that Python is a great language to start programming. That said, I was sort of disappointed when I found out that like MIT, where I went to school, changed away from Lisp to teach Python as the first language. And again, I think they did it for a variety of reasons, many of which were wrong. I think including the fact that like Python is more practical than Lisp. But I think that that if you're trying to teach in a university environment, you want to get people thinking in certain ways. And there's certain kinds of thought that Python doesn't express as well as, say, Lisp would.
Yeah, that's their primary language. Are you saying the introduction to programming languages course or class, they use Python for that?
It's now used by about 80% of American universities, is the most recent number I've seen, as the intro programming course. And so, like, when I do my training, like sometimes, so I'm typically working with people who program in C, C++, C#, Java. And they're like, what is this toy language and why am I being forced to learn it? and I try to explain to them that, first of all, it's not a toy language, even though it looks like that maybe. And second of all, perhaps more importantly, it's not going away. And so you can now and will in the future be able to get great jobs using Python. And so it's this sweet spot of easy to learn, large community, good future. That sort of hits all those things. And that's rare in a language. You have, just to sort of pick on some other languages, JavaScript, I think, has all of that, except for the easy to learn part. It's gotten better with ES6, but it's still, I think, frustrating for people to learn because it has so many idiosyncrasies. And Ruby, which, again, I love so much, like personally for me, you really have to understand the object model to be able to work in it well. And that's a steep learning curve for many people, I found.
For show notes and transcripts, visit us at mentoringdevelopers.com.